Hey guys, this is Mrs. Yeagle, and I'm ready to read chapter 13 of The Darkest Hour to you. That starts on page 158, and we just left off, and she found out that the initials for the traitor are TJH, and so she thinks that means Major Harkin. Ooh. I return on foot to Cherbourg, dazed. The sky overhead is as blue as the jewels at Versailles, but I might as well be walking through fog. TJH. Those initials punch through me every time I blink, and they haunt me as I wind my way back to the safe house, where we parted ways with Madame Rocher. The farmer there is kind enough to let me rest for a couple of hours, but I don't want to put him in any more danger. So I borrow a few francs and take a fresh change of clothes that once belonged to his dead wife. After that, I leave for the train station straight away. There's no time for rest, not after what Dorner has told me. I board a second-class train car and ignore the greasy-haired man sitting next to me who keeps knocking his knee against mine. For the entire trip, I try to make sense out of what Dorner revealed to me. Major Harkin? A double agent? A traitor? I can't see him turning. Not for the money, and not for the favors like Trevor. That's the part that doesn't make sense. What could the Nazis have offered him to make him give up his country? Maybe Dorner got the initials mixed up. Or maybe there's another TJH within the Parisian resistance. This could just be a coincidence. Can it be that simple, though? I should contact the OSS, but it's not exactly easy to talk to them. I'd have to radio them, and it could be days before I'd get an answer. Besides, Harkin controls our radio. If Sabine were here, she could send a message to our London office. Except I don't know where she is. I don't know if she's alive. I thrust that thought into the dustiest corner of my mind. I need to focus on returning to headquarters first. And then I'll decide what my plan will be. I don't know what I'll find when I return. Whether or not Sabine has made it safely, whether Tilly and Delphine have made it back in one piece, and whether Harkin will await me there, or what I'll say to him. With a whine of its wheels, the train pulls into the Paris station, and I begin my trek back to headquarters. The sun drags low behind me and has nearly dipped below the trees by the time I reach the 6th arrondissement. I walk alongside the calm waters of the Seine, trying to organize my scattered thoughts. Suddenly, someone bumps into me from behind. I'm sent sprawling forward, and I'm about to mutter a curse, but I don't hit the sidewalk. The very same someone who ran into me grabs me by the arm to steady me. "My apologies, mademoiselle," a girl says, "but you should watch where you're going." Watch where I'm going? I whirl around to face this dolt, but once I turn, I forget what I was going to say. "Surprise," Sabine says. She links arms with me and leads me down Rue Saint-Jacques toward headquarters. It's like she's a street cat, popping up whenever I least expect her. She must have 9 lives, too, because this is twice now that she's escaped from the Germans' clutches. A dozen questions spring to the tip of my tongue. I know I need to wait until we arrive at headquarters to release them, but one wriggles out. "When did you make it home?" "This morning." I break into a smile for the first time in days. "You beat me back?" Of course she did. "Did you?" My smile fades because I have to choose my next words with care. "Hi."
Mama, can you come help me cut my personal?
Can I finish reading the story first?
No.
The story is good.
I need to. Did you run into any trouble? "I ran into plenty, but nothing I couldn't handle. When we left you," I stopped because I've said too much already. "I'm so glad to see you again, and I have something to tell you." "Oh, I have something to tell you too." With our secrets dangling between us, we return to the bookstore and descend into the dark lair of headquarters. The smell of dust and mold creeps into my nose. I used to hate this scent, but now I take in a long breath of it. Home. But that cozy feeling doesn't linger because Harkin's initials crop up in my mind again. Sabine lights the candles on the hallway table. "Tell me what happened to Dorner. Did you make it to the coordinates?" "We did. He should be in London by now, telling the SOE everything that he told us." "Good. That's very good." She shuts her eyes in relief, but the moment is fleeting. "And what about the double agent?" My mouth goes dry. "He gave me the agent's initials." "That's all? He said he'd give us a name." "The initials are TJH." Sabine goes quiet as she puzzles out the letters, and it doesn't take her long to unravel them. "Major Harkin?" she whispers. I wait for her to swear up and down, or maybe she'll defend Harkin until her face purples, but she doesn't do either. She's oddly calm about what I've told her. Something must be off. You don't seem surprised by the news, I say. I'm not. She doesn't elaborate, merely crooks a finger in my direction. You better follow me. I remember that she had something to tell me too, and so I follow her down the dim hall and toward Harkin's private quarters. He always keeps his door tightly locked, but Sabine picks the lock with ease and strides inside. I stop in place. Did you break into Harkin's office? I ask. Please don't hit him with a stapler.
I wasn't gonna. Just didn't get
But don't. I had no other choice. He wasn't here, and I needed to check the radio in case the OSS had a message for us. Did they? No, but I heard something else on the frequency. She takes out a piece of paper from her blouse pocket and presses it into my palm. Here. It was in Morse. I stare at the paper. My own Morse code is rusty, but I managed to translate it after a few tries. TJH, Tuileries Garden, usual time, your payment is ready. The room tilts, and my head goes with it. You heard this on the radio? You're sure? Undeniably, I heard it 3 times. She nods at the suitcase that holds Harkin's radio. To use it, she would have needed to drag the suitcase up to the ground floor to get a signal. I imagine her stooped by the window, pointing the antenna discreetly out while she turned the dials to pick up any messages, and coming across this one. You do know what this means, don't you? Of course I do, I mumble, although I still can't quite believe it. Is the message still being broadcast? Perhaps. I can't be sure. I need to hear it. Don't you trust me? I trust you with my life. And that's the truth after what we've been through these last 3 days. But we're talking about Major Harkin committing treason, Sabine. We need to be absolutely sure before we throw around any accusations. You're holding the proof in your hands! She motions at the Morse-coded message she's given me. Donner's intelligence confirms it. How do you explain that? I don't have an answer for her. The thing is, I can't clear Major Harkin's name. And yet I know this man. Never in 1,000 years would I think he's a spy. And to be honest, I thought Sabine would share my doubts. But Sabine seems to have made up her mind already. You simply don't want to see the truth, do you? She crosses her arms and a sharp blaze of hurt punches my stomach. She's talking to me like I'm a fool. And frankly, I'm tired of her hot and cold routine. I thought we'd worked past this. Listen to me, I start, but my voice falls silent when we hear 5 crisp knocks on the hatch. Someone's here. Maybe Tilly. I tuck Sabine's scrawled message into my pocket and head out, but Sabine makes a grab at me. Lucy, she hisses. What if it isn't a friendly? But I heard the 5 knocks loud and clear, and all I can think about is Tilly, that she's alive and that she has come home. Except when the hatch unlocks, I don't find her descending the ladder rungs. It's Harkin. Blaze, he says gruffly, hobbling onto the floorboards. He must have injured his left ankle, judging by the way he favors the right one. There's a notch of surprise in his dry throat. You're alive? Yes. That's all I can say. An accusation teeters at the edges of my mouth, but it doesn't come out. My head still reels from what Sabine has showed me. Where's Tilly? He moves past me and limps down the hallway toward his quarters. We took different trains from Reims to better cover our tracks. Did you find Dorner? We did, says Sabine, stepping out from the shadows of his room. Harkin breathes a sigh of relief, but his face soon scrunches into a scowl. What are you doing in my quarters? I had to check the radio in case another agent contacted us. I see. He shows no hint of alarm. If he's playing dumb, he's doing an excellent job of it. And did someone? No, but I heard a most intriguing message, Sabine says. Sabine, wait, I start. I didn't want to confront him now, not until I heard that broadcast myself. But I also thought we'd have more time before Harkin arrived at headquarters. I search over his face, and I realize that he does have some questions to answer, whether he's innocent or not. Sir, we have a lot to discuss. Despite his exhaustion, Harkin nods. Into my office. Let's talk. We all file in. Harkin settles into the chair behind his desk while Sabine and I stand in front of him, where I study him intently, noting the hunch of his shoulders and the dark bags beneath his eyes. I still can't see him as a double agent, but neither can I ignore what Dorner and Sabine have told me. If Harkin has indeed turned, then he needs to pay for his betrayal. I'll escort him back to the U.S. for his court-martial myself. Before I can open my mouth, though, Harkin beats me to the chase. Look, I'll be quick, he says, rubbing the bridge of his nose with his first two fingers. Delphine is dead. By the time we had a rescue plan set in place, the resistance in Reims discovered she'd succumbed to her injuries. Agent Fairbanks and I tried to head back to Paris after that news, but there was a bombing on the railways that delayed our return. He spits out the information rapid fire, one fact after another. We don't even have time to process that another one of our agents is gone. Tell me about Dorner and Operation Zierfall. How can we be sure that Delphine is dead? Sabine is quick to reply. Did you see her remains? We didn't have that sort of access. I've taken the resistance at their word, and that's final. Now brief me on your mission. What'd you do with Dorner? I interrogated him, and we found his story to be valid. I feel Sabine elbow me in the ribs, silently telling me to get on with it. But if she wants me to throw out the accusation, then we'll do it my way. He told us, so what's Zierfall? Harkin interrupts. That's classified information, Sabine says. Classified? Harkin's brows cross. On whose account? On mine, she replies. If you're making some sort of joke, I'm not laughing, Harkin says darkly. I'm not laughing either, she says. You know what? I don't appreciate your tone, Agent Chevalier. Maybe you've forgotten that you are speaking to your superior officer. Superior! Sabine barks out a laugh. I don't like how she's escalating this situation, and I'm about to tell her to cool it. But Sabine snatches the reins of the conversation and gets straight to the point. No, I believe I am talking to a traitor. The room goes silent. Harkin's eyes gather with storm clouds as they fly toward Sabine. Mine do the same. Has she gone entirely mad? Harkin pounds both fists on his desk. Excuse me? You heard me, you traitor, Sabine retorts. Show him the paper, Lucy. Harkin turns his attention to me. Blaze, you're in on this too? We all need to calm down, I say, my voice carrying over theirs. Before they can get another word in, I spill out everything. Dorner said we have a double agent in our ranks, an agent with the initials TGH. It takes a second for my revelation to sink into Major Harkin, but once it does, he turns bright red from neck to forehead. How dare you even show him the message? Sabine interrupts, turning to me. When I don't move quickly enough for her liking, she digs into my pocket and shoves the paper at him. I heard that with my own ears over the radio. A message from the Germans to you. Harkin crumples the note without reading it. I won't even dignify your accusation with an answer. It's that ludicrous. Now get out of this room before I toss you out of covert ops completely. I am not leaving until you confess what you've done, Sabine counters, not budging. Stop it, the both of you. I yank Sabine's elbow because we're getting nowhere with this method of attack. I don't know what she was thinking, charging him like that. Did she truly expect him to confess to us? But Sabine has the strength of a viper and shrugs me off. How much are they paying you? She shouts at him. How much did it cost to buy you?